guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be doing our first episode of Beauty Maths. This is about taking some of the guesswork out of buying products. And if you are not as experienced with buying makeup, it's really easy to kind of decide you want something and then end up throwing away a whole bunch of money on something you don't use, you have too much of it, it's the wrong shade, whatever the situation. So this is really about looking at the value of products to start with, and then from there you can hopefully make some educated guesses about what products you should buy. So today we're focusing on bronzers. So we're looking at some of the most popular bronzers currently on the market. We've got NARS, Too Faced, Hourglass, Benefit, MAC, so on and so forth. And I've crunched all the numbers for you so you don't have to stress. So we're going to go through, and I've got some examples to show you so you can get a good visual understanding. By the way, if you're interested in the look that I have on, this is just a simple party look. I filmed this separately in another tutorial so you can check it out. It's super quick and easy and lots of fun. So first, let's talk about full-size products. So you're going in there, you want a bronzer and you want like a full one, like you're not kind of on the fence, you're ready. So the cheapest by far that I could sort of find in that sort of cult status category was the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. So you get 11 grams in the full size and that comes in at $2.73 per gram, which is great value when you consider that the most expensive product, which I'll be telling you about later, comes in at $7.25 per gram. So we're talking more than double the cost for that. So that just kind of puts that in perspective. But what is 11 grams? So I have an example. This pan is a Clinique bronzer, but it's just so you had kind of a reference. This is what a sort of 10-gram pan looks like. And I'm going to be referring back to this so you can kind of have visual references to understand. And let me tell you, with a bronzer, unless you are bathing in it, you are hard pressed to get to bottom of an 11-gram pan. I'm sure if you check out some of the project pans out there, or even, I can't remember who does the videos, I'll find it and link it below, on how long it takes up to use certain products, and I think that will give you a really good indicator of whether or not you need this, because unless you're the kind of person who's like taking this and like brushing it all over your body, 11 grams is a lot to get through before a product goes bad. So next on the list, so that's $2.73, we have the Jouer Bronzer Duo, also 11 grams, and that comes in at $4.10 per gram. I think the benefits of this product and why I like it is you get the two pans with two different colors. So essentially you can kind of customize your shade based on the time of year, which makes it a really good bronzer to take you through the year. So if you're on the fairer side, the light option, it's like a very sort of milky one and then a bit darker, and it kind of gives you the option to either just go with the light one in the winter or maybe mix the two when you're a bit more bronzed to the summer, or if you're like me, you're never bronzed, so it doesn't really matter. Following on from this, a sort of surprising one is the MAC bronzing powder, which came in at $4.50 a gram for their 10-gram pack. So just a reminder, 10-gram pack. And I think that's interesting because people sort of associate MAC as being very much a sort of entry level, but it's high-end entry level. So it's sort of, we're not talking like your By Terry's and all that, but it's kind of, it's a bit more pricey than your average drugstore, and it's popular for a lot of people getting into makeup. $4.50 per gram kind of puts it in the middle range. Following on, we have a real cult status product, which is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer, which comes in at $5.50 per gram for an 8-gram pack. So you get a little bit less of it in there, but it's actually a reasonably good, it's high end, it's more expensive, you're getting a little bit less, but you're sort of paying the same dollar cost that you do for some of the others. But in a lot of ways, that's not a bad thing if you're getting a product that you know is really high quality. So Next is sort of surprising. It's the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. This one is very popular. Again, it comes in an 8-gram pack, but it's at $6.50 per gram. So that's also more than double the Physicians Formula one. So I think you really need to think about whether or not Hoola Bronzer is your jam. And if it isn't, if it is, like, you know, good for you, if you're willing to pay that, then you'll get the value out of it, and that's great. Next, we move into, and so there's 2 more left on this list, it's Hourglass and NARS. And I think people might be surprised to find that Hourglass actually came in as the 2nd most expensive and not the most expensive. So Hourglass bronzer comes in also an 11-gram pack at $6.64 per gram. So we're pushing it a bit. It's actually not much more than the Benefit. So if you're kind of like, because they're both sort of luminous bronzers, and if you're thinking about really kind of making that next step up and you think you want the the Hourglass product, then, you know, that could help you justify it. It's only 14 cents more per gram. But that means the packet overall does come in at $73, which is, especially in Australian dollars, don't worry, if you're in America or anywhere else in the world, I've done all the costs in Australian dollars. You can just do a currency converter to try and figure it out for your local market. So don't bulk. It probably doesn't cost $73 in your market, but it does in mine. What I think is sort of interesting about that is you might be tempted to look into minis as a result, because that $73 mark, you're like, I better damn well love this bronzer if I want that. But don't worry, we're going to talk about minis and packs in just a second. We're just going to cap off this list first with the NARS Laguna bronzer, which at 8 grams comes in at $7.25 per gram. That is massively expensive. But the kind of confusing thing is that the packet overall is $58. So when you're comparing it to something like an Hourglass, you're like, well, the Hourglass is super expensive. It's $73, but you're getting 3 more grams than you do in the NARS thing. This brings me back to the start, where it's like, do you ever actually use a full bronzer? If you do, buy the one you love and go for it. But if you're the kind of person who likes to dabble and try here and try there, and you're not diehard about one, you're probably tempted to look for a palette or with a combination or a mini, things like that. So I picked up the NARS Advent Calendar this year, the Uncensored, and it was amazing. I loved it. Don't tell my husband, he doesn't know I bought it. But what I found in that is that kind of inspired beauty maths. I did the maths and I figured out that if I was going to use a certain number of things, I was actually extracting more value than if I was to buy 1 or 2 select full products from NARS. So this got me thinking, for what brands is it valuable to buy the packs, the holiday specials and the minis, and for what brands are you kind of getting ripped off when you do that? So for Hourglass, a palette like this, the Uncensored, which I love, the Ambient Unlocked, I love this palette. It gives me a bit of everything. I got to try a lot of products. I also have a full size of the blush in Dim Infusion. So I went with full size on this because when I did the maths, the minis just weren't worth the money. But the reality is I'm probably never going to get through this. So in real dollar terms, it might have ended up being valuable. This palette puts each product in by weight at $13.93 per gram. So you pay a premium still compared to full-size products to get these palettes. This is $117 locally. So versus spending $73 on like one of these products, I said, why don't I spend a bit more and I get to try 6. This worked for me because the reality is I'm probably never gonna pan these 4. Like that's just not in my future. These 2, I'm already well on my way because I use them all the time. But from the cost value, if I thought I would use them all, it would be better to get that. So what if you can't commit? What if you don't know for sure that you are a diehard Laguna? So let's take a look. The Hourglass Minis have 1.3 grams of product, which puts them at $26.92 per gram. That is by far the most expensive product. So we're talking about the mini version of this. So this one here has 4.2 grams in it, and it looks like this, right? What does 1.3 grams look like? Well, I don't have anything. 1.3 is approximately one of these pans. These are 1.4. So you're comparing buying just one of these for $26.92 per gram versus buying a full one like this, essentially. So the maths really doesn't add up on buying the minis. So when it comes to Hourglass, if you want to try the products but you don't want a full price, I think the happy medium is to just pay the 100% premium to grab one of the palettes. Better than that, go swatch it multiple times. Go to your local store, put on your bronzer, go back 3 or 4 times until you're 100% sure that you love that product and will use it. And when that moment comes, just spend the $73 if you can. If you can't, look at one of the more affordable options that were on the list. So this then brings me to NARS. This is a Laguna. This is a 2.5 gram option. This is just to kind of give you an understanding of scale. So that's what 2.5 grams look like. This is a blush, but this is 4.8. So it's roughly double, which you can kind of see makes sense with these pans. I think the average person can pan this bronzer with just sort of average use. I don't know how long it will take. I haven't used it yet. I think I will start and I might do a video on that. So if you're interested in learning about how many applications it takes for me to use up this bronzer, let me know and I will definitely look into that. And then I think when you go up a size, so this 5 grams, you'll get use out of this. You might pan it, but is that a big deal? Probably not. So I think there's good value in that. So the reason I'm showing you this is because NARS are notorious for selling their best sellers, the Laguna and the Orgasm Blush, in packs and sets. This Christmas alone, I think there were about 3 sets that included either or both, maybe more, of those really popular shades, because they want you to try them. They want you to try them and they want you to love them as much as everybody else. That's how you develop cult status on your product. It's really smart, actually. So a combination of their 2 most popular products, the Orgasm Blush and the Laguna Bronzer in a duo, for $5.81 per gram. If you recall, the NARS Laguna came in at $7.25 per gram. So if you don't think you can pan a full blush, 100% take advantage of some of those options that they give you to try those products in smaller formats. I think their packaging, whilst I hate the soft matte thing that marks the second you touch it, it's really clever because they've managed to find a way that lets them sort of scale up and down really effectively and mix and match all of their powder products in a way that doesn't seem to increase the cost of the packaging. And I think that's the difference when you come to the Hourglass, right? Like, this packaging is gorgeous, but I imagine in the mini, the reason why it comes at such a premium, the reason why was you still have to make this packaging. So essentially the packaging is probably 70% of what you're paying for when you get the product. And that's often the case with high-end brands. So I really encourage you to just have a think about it and shop around for the deals. I'm gonna keep an eye out on this channel for when cool packs and opportunities come up, and I will definitely be sure to review the numbers on them and let you know if I think it's value for your money. In the meantime, I would really encourage you, unless you're diehard about your favorite bronzer brand, to either try the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, which is supposed to be amazing, or the Jouer one, or have a crack at trying to determine if there's a combination or a miniature that's going to offer you value for money. Because now I get to try this great bronzer without having to pay $60 for it. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm really keen to know if there's something that you want to know about. Is it deceptive packaging in foundations or powders? Is it pressed versus loose? I am more than keen to look into any of your burning questions when it comes to beauty maths and value for money. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.